Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the 21st of May, 2024. This is David Nguyen, your Sophos product manager here from Blue Chip Infotech. And here today with me, I have an esteemed special guest with me, right? Chris Goldsmith, the man who fixes all your problems. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, David. That's a great intro. Appreciate it.
No, it's good, man. A lot of people usually who come onto webinars with me, they're seeing this surprise of energy with me. So I'm glad I can bring a smile to your face, and over to you, my partners as well. I'm glad that you guys are here with me today as well. I think we had a whole bunch registered for the webinar today. We had approximately, I think it was like 50 or 60 people. So let me just check who we've got in here. Oh, fantastic. Oh, look at this. It's the whole crowd. Welcome, guys, and thank you for spending your afternoon with us today. Hopefully we can share as many useful tips and tricks as possible so that you can get all of your XGs and firewalls and take advantage of the deals that are going on, replacing those legacy models that you have out there. But Chris, I didn't introduce you, man. But your title is longer than I have a memory for. So do you mind just telling me what kind of big wig you are in Sophos and how you're going to help us all today?
I don't know about bigwig, but I'm the manager for ANZ Sales Engineering. So I look after the pre-sales engineering team for Australia and New Zealand. We cover 6 different SEs around the region, and we're part of obviously a larger group within ASEAN. So I manage those guys as well as I look after the southern region for Sophos. So any partners or customers that are sitting within South Australia, Victoria, Tasmania, I'm your go-to guy for engineering.
No, fantastic, man. So the one that is actually uh, the one that solves problems on the field rather than hoity-toity sales conversations up top, right? The man who actually makes things happen. So that's a dig at all the salespeople on the call, including me. No, I'm kidding. So I hope we have some tech people on the call, all right, who's going to benefit from the demos later inside of the session. But just while we're waiting. All right, I'll do housekeeping later, but I think there's going to be I'm going to do a little bit of banter, right? A little bit of banter and some news updates, right, on some cybersecurity news, just while we're kind of warming up to the start of the webinar. According to Nine News, who just released another article, and screw it, I'll share it on the screen. It's a little bit unofficial because we're casual like that over in Blue Chip, but apparently you don't need to change your Medicare cards, right? So if you're changing, so because of that Medicare breach that happened a while ago, right? The government is now saying that you don't need to change your Medicare breach, even though there was a large scale incident. Okay, you don't need to replace them, which is really good. From the information that is currently available to the government, no current e-prescriptions have been impacted or accessed rather. So, that's handy dandy, seeing as it was quite literally a government organization that got breached. And on the basis of technical advice from MediSecure, today, the original compromise has been isolated and there is no evidence to suggest an increased cyber threat to the medical sector. So, it's taken this long for the for it to get to this stage, and for more technical information and official news to turn up. But I'm quite happy. I think the vast majority of Australians are on Medicare and utilize the service on a daily basis. So yeah, interesting news there, ladies and gentlemen. And we do have a questions and answer panel, so you guys can type freely whatever you want into that questions and answer panel. If anyone's heard any, wild commentary or fun or strange news about cybersecurity lately that they want to put into the questions panel, we'll be reading it out as we go. Okay, I've heard some crazy stuff about when Kaspersky got hacked when I was doing a webinar back in that time, and everyone was sharing crazy stories about how their people had to flee, and certain threat actors were keeping people ransom, both physically and on their networks as well. It was a bit wild out there. So yeah, questions and actual CEO. Here is we're just going to celebrate Joe becoming the actual CEO. Nah, man, that's not cybersecurity news. I'm kidding. That might have been news to Chris Goldsmith, but we can.
That is
I'm sure we
fantastic
can.
news. Yeah, it's Joe's been with us for a number of years, and I've worked quite closely with Joe. And yeah, it's brilliant news. He's a fantastic guy. He knows his tech. is really passionate about cybersecurity and yeah, just helping to reinvigorate. He's a tech guy, so nerds out there rejoice. Yeah, no, it is great news.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks, both Chris's, by the way. Chris, who posted that in the comments section, and of course, good old Chris presenting here. But yeah, we'll be reading out any commentary you guys wanna post in that questions and answer panel, and just answering them as we go. But cool. Well, I think it's about time to get started, right? It's just about the 6-minute mark. So welcome to everyone who just joined. Okay. Yeah, feel free to ask anything as we go along, but I'm going to start the presentation and hopefully we can all learn a few things here and there. Okay, cool. So we're here today about XG, end of life. Okay, and SG, mind you, but XG is the main culprit right now if we wanted to paint that picture. Okay, it is time for XGS firewalls, the next generation firewalls, to take over. Okay, and when I mean take over, I mean you better replace them soon, or else you're going to get closer and closer to the end of life day, and you will have a little bit of a frantic replacement period coming up the closer you get to. Because remember, when you hit the end of life day, the day after there is no more support. Okay, it's not as if that's the date that you should aim for. You should aim for way earlier to replace your firewalls. As you can imagine, you have to go in there physically and do it. Okay, it's not just a piece of software that you roll over. Okay, there's a whole bunch of configuration and best practices that Chris, lovely Chris over on presenting here, Mr. Chris Goldsmith, will take you guys through closer to the halfway section of that demo. Okay, but migration tips, all the promos, FAQ, everything you need to know is going to be on this webinar today. And if you don't get it answered, feel free to ask. We've been dealing with this for quite a while now, so we are quite experienced in making sure you guys walk away with something practical that you can take away from this. But there will be a plug first before I start. Okay, we do have a supercharge program up and running. Okay, it is our new amazing supercharge program, and as in conjunction with that program, we will be having a good old swag bag, Sophos merchandise swag bag kit, to be giving away today to the most engaged partner. Okay, so Chris and I will choose them towards the end, and by engaged I mean asking questions inside of that chat panel, right? Emailing us for things afterwards, or just being pointing out some awesome points and commentary, or even stories out in the field about your own XG and XGS replacement, okay, or any types of tips that you've learned along the way, because we're all here to help each other, right? Sophos is channel first. We are definitely there in order to make sure you guys succeed out there in the space. So we do have a supercharge program, like I mentioned. Okay, it's got 3 levels, right? It's got incredible rewards such as our swag bag kits with our laptop risers and wireless phone charger stands, which you guys are receiving. In fact, I can show you right now. Actually, I've got one sitting on the desk right here, so you can win one of these today. All right, good old aluminium laptop and tablet riser, and also a wireless phone charging stand. So we'll send that out to you, right? Free of charge if you participate today. We also have Jabra headsets up for grabs if you're inside of that supercharge program and you do a certain amount of business with us. Okay, with Sophos, we're there to reward you. And of course, level 3, after you become the rising star level, which is what we call it, you do get in the draw to win. Sorry, not in the draw. You do achieve a electronic standing desk and $500 or a $500 gift card. So lots to win inside of that program. We're really proud of it, and we can't wait to do more business with you guys. I'll show you later at the end. But let's keep going. Oh, so we've already got our first question. We haven't even hit the agenda yet, Chris. No, this is fantastic. David Nichols.
Keen to get their swag.
No, we'll see if this one's a good question. But thanks, David, for posting this. I'll read it out for the group to hear. So we have been using XGS for a while, and now wondering when is the next revision coming to XGS firewalls. The next revision. Now, I'm not an expert on roadmap, Chris, unfortunately. Do you happen to know anything about that? I haven't heard so far. Right, I'm just putting my hands up there.
Well, actually, yes, I do. Now, I can either let you know right now and avoid the suspense, or I can let you know later on.
Okay. How about
choose your own adventure?
Choose your own adventure. You know what? I'm gonna keep us. I'll keep us waiting a little bit. Okay. and just flick through some things first, and maybe you can address that to give yourself time to have more details up and running. How about that? But good question, David. We'll come right back to you in approximately 15 to 20 minutes with the answer for that one, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, the roadmap's huge, so we'll get to you. But just in terms of agenda, guys, what you're going to see today, right? Important dates. I'll bring up my laser pointer right here, make it easy. Important dates, okay? The key dates you need to put in your calendars, all right? And you need to switch over by, please. You know, it'll help you. It'll help you a lot. How to size up alternatives, okay? So when you look at a certain XGS firewall, how to use a tool in order to get the, you know, an alternative, or you know, some if they've changed their sizing after a few years or several years, right? It's how to negotiate that properly. New promotions, there's a ton of them, so you're gonna have to bear with me while I walk you through it, because there's quite a few. All right, so I'm gonna make it as easy as possible for you guys to understand. All right, and then there will be the technical demo, right, from Chris, in order to show you guys best practices, you know, backups, config stuff, and all the good old jazz that will help you on the day, right? On the day, or rather before the day, to help you prepare for that swap over. Okay, so real simple. All right, it's all sales and all technical. Couldn't get easier than that. All right, let's paint the picture, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Because there is a big picture. All right, we have all XG, right? So many acronyms these days, so just think if they don't have an S at the end of it, okay, it's going end of life. All right, if there's no S at the end, it is going end of life. XG firewalls go end of life 31st March 2025, all right? That is less than a year from now, okay? And considering how fast this year has gone, don't forget about the migration plans for your clients, customers, end users, etc. Okay, and if there are any end users on this call, which I don't believe there are, but if you do, say hi, all right? That is the date that you need to remember, okay? And SG firewalls are in 2026, so just about a year after, right? A little bit more than a year after, okay? But you do need to be switching. If you're not on XGS, 3 letters, then please consider doing so, because the support will run out. There won't be any more updates. The licensing won't run, as in your protection for the firewall itself. And Chris, feel free to jump in here if you want to, from a technical standpoint, but your protection on your firewall will not actually run, okay? And that is worrying, considering that the firewall is literally the gateway to your network. In terms of renewals, okay, the last 1-year renewal date, proper 12 months full term, was the 31st of March, which is way past. It is currently the 21st of May right now. Okay, so that means anytime you are renewing, and you are available to renew, I'd like to just announce that right now, you can renew your XG firewall license for less than that 12-month period for the remaining term. What is it, like 9 months now or 10 months now, something like that? Look, either way, you can still renew for that remaining term. Until the very last day of end of life date. But usually what happens to a lot of partners when they go, oh yeah, we'll just use it for whatever is left, because they want to utilize every single day left of the hardware. And fair enough, of course, you know, we want to utilize the investments inside of our network. What usually happens is they forget about it until the very last day on end of life, and they are scrambling, right? A lot of partners are usually scrambling in order to replace the hardware, and that's stress on you guys, your timeline, your resources, your staff, your technology, etc., in order to go out there, right? So please make sure you plan ahead. That's all. Okay, please make sure you plan ahead. All right, guess how many firewalls we have out there, guys? I want to see some numbers inside of our questions panel. Okay, it's just a fun little exercise, all right, in order to show you guys the landscape, all right, of how many XG and SG firewalls are out there in the field. In Australia, all right, it's not New Zealand, okay, it's in Australia, to replace, okay, because there's quite a few of them, all right? And while I'm letting you guys guess inside that questions panel, there is a Sophos retirement calendar. You can Google it. The link is there, but who wants to type that in this day and age? Okay, so Google Sophos retirement calendar, and I'll quickly show you guys what that looks like, right? In order to just, you know, give 10,000 plus, Tony. that's a hell of a lot of firewalls out there. I love that number, but unfortunately, that's not exactly correct. It's a lot less than that. All right, if it was 10,000, I think there would be more people in this call. All right, there'd be probably 6 or 7. Guessing 5,000 plus. Tony has 86. Damn. The 86 quantity? Okay, that's crazy, man. But you know, thanks for sharing that, Tony. 5,000 plus. Oh, 5,000 plus dollars. Yeah, you could. There's definitely more than $5,000, but there is less. The number is less than 5,000 quantity, I'd like to say. So thanks, David, for that comment. Just showing you guys really quickly. If you do type it, if you Google Sophos retirement calendar, if you quickly do that, this is the big old table that you get with every date there. So bookmark this, okay, in order to see whereabouts your XG models are in terms of going end of life. And as I mentioned, I'll just do it up here really quickly. End of sale, all right, has already been passed way long, right? Last 1 year renewal date, like I mentioned, for, let's say, for example, the XG125, right? Like I said, 31st of March 2024, and the end of life date is 31st of March 2025, like I mentioned. Okay, so everything's in here. Peruse as you know, as you're welcome to do, and then the SG series appliances as well, okay, are included there. And if I scroll right to the very top, you'll get to see everything that has gone end of life as well, including access points, right? Did you guys know that all the APs and APXs specifically are end of life 2027? Yeah, so if you guys have APXs out there in the field, wireless access points, of course, please consider switching over to AP6s, which is the new Wi-Fi 6 range. Okay, that's in 2027, so it's still a little bit of time away from this, but hey, just thought I'd point it out, right? It's on the retirement calendar and everything is there for you to go as you please. But cool. Oh, we've got good old Chris with another commentary. Thanks, man. With XGS having no disclosed date for end of life, is there any data coming soon that may indicate what the end of life date is? We have some customers on SG that are questioning why the XGs are going end of life before the SGs, making it a hard sell. All right, so just to make sure I visit this correctly, Chris, you want to know, you have customers on SG, they are questioning why XGs are going end of life before. Oh, okay. That is a really good question. So
I can jump in here and answer that one if you like, David.
that would be fantastic. It's formulating. It's there, Chris. But I would love.
I just like to see you sweat a little bit. No, it's
yeah, no. It's getting the gears. All right, over to you, Chris.
It's a very good question, and to be honest, the reason the XG platform is going into life before SG is because we've got a number of large customers that are using SGs that are unable to move quickly. So with the supported platforms, SGs have been around for many years, and we've had some really good success. And the numbers that David spoke about what XGs and SGs are out there, over the course of the last few years, while we've had XG, we've been able to migrate a lot of those users across as we come up to parity with the functionality that's been on the SGs. If you think back to the SG, we had quite a lot of support under things like UTM, those types of functions and web gateways and so forth. So yeah, the SGs have been ingrained in a lot of organizations where it's not possible to move that quickly to, say, an XG. And we've got more SGs that are, I guess, primary or critical over the XG platform. Plus, there's a migration path from XG to XGS. So yeah, as we speak about a little bit later on, which I'll discuss, the migration side of it, it's a little bit more complicated going from an SG to an XG or an XGS. So to skip that, a lot of people are going to go jumping straight to XGS.
Great answer.
Hopefully that answers your question there, Chris.
Yeah, and then Chris also said, yeah, they've been using it since it was a Staro security gateway, which is a bloody long time ago. Yeah. Look, I've known that the SGs have been rock solid for a very long time, and people have stayed on SGs, and there are SGs now up for renewal simply because of how rock solid and how great they are. So no, 100% agree, and I'm glad that now that the XGS has caught up, so that we can utilize all the features that came with it. But cool. Hope that answered your question. Good old Chris. I'm gonna keep going on because I'm actually running short on time. This is strange. Usually I'm right on time. So here's the breakdown. Right, we have approximately 2,600 firewalls out there. So who mentioned 3,800? Brian, good job, man. You were the closest. All right, there's approximately 2,600. All right, there was more, so there was almost close to about 3,300 about 2 or 3 months ago. So you're pretty much on the right track, dude. But just by state, this is just out of interest for you guys, right? There's a whole bunch out in New South Wales, almost about 1,000 of them, right? Victoria is up next, Queensland with 567. SA does as the least, unfortunately. So partners in SA, please help us out and get more out there. You're doing the best rather. And then WA 217, and breakdown by the models and devices, we have 400 or close to 500 SGs out there. XGs, the vast majority, almost 2,000, 1,700-ish, and we have XGSs out there up for renewal. This is just, to give you guys a little bit of a number about, ones that are out there, 474, right? But that's kind of like a little bit of a teaser for you guys to know what's out there, especially for partners, end users and customers, of course, who don't have service providers, okay? So if you know any out there who you don't manage day to day, look back inside of your records, look back inside of your sales histories, right, and try to find those who, of course, are going end of life, right, and pick them back up again, okay? Or you might see end users and customers out in the field reach out to you guys as partners, okay? So just unfortunately, there for Taz Cat, there we couldn't find a number for Taz. No, and I do apologize actually. So my bad. I There must have been none. So Taz is actually doing the best. Why is SA so low? Are they the best migrators to XGS due to the sales engineer? That is exactly right. That's a call out to you, man. So
That must have been a
good
Chris
job.
comment.
It was. So thanks, Chris, for that. And you know what, Kat? If I do find the Taz numbers, which I genuinely believe there are, there might be zero. This is astounding. So Taz has just won the race by default, so no one has to worry about them. It's fantastic. No, it could be the size of the state or something like that. But if you want your own personalized personalized asset list, I'm going to show you real quickly how to do it. Remember when I mentioned that it's best in order to make sure you have a list for yourselves, okay? You can do it via the partner portal, and I'll show you real quick. It's in the partner portal, Sophos partner portal, under sales, devices, and licenses. And it doesn't just have to be for XG and XGS firewalls and whatever. It's also for software, so your licenses and whatnot. In fact, I'll just click on devices and licenses real quick, right? In order just to demo, and show you guys how to export an asset list, okay, very quickly. Now, I won't put in a partner for the sake of privacy because this is a webinar that is going to be uploaded to the public, but I will show you guys and just demo really quickly how about that works. Okay, so if you want your own asset list of what's up for renewal, any XGs and XGSs that you've sold in the past that are coming up for renewal, etc., you can do it via the partner portal, sales, devices, and licenses. Okay, you'll simply search by your partner name, of course. So it could be blah, 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 right? Make it whatever, and then you'll be able to search. It will come up with nothing because I've just put in a whole bunch of, nonsense, but you'll be able to export your assets from there. So this comes out into a CSV file, which is very easy to filter and, search via function and all that kind of stuff, all right? You can filter it as well in terms of dates of when the assets will expire. So if you wanted to do it before the 30th of June, you can, all right? And what comes out will, of course, be your partner name, the serial number, and the license, okay, which is very important in asking for renewal, okay, or going on to the Sophos reps and saying, hey, there is an XG or an XGS going up end of life, blah, blah, blah. And of course, it'll come up with the customer name or the end user name, product description, etc. This will spit out everything, okay? So it's useful not only just for hardware, it'll give you licenses and stuff as well. And if you wanted to make it even easier, I know that's a little bit of work, okay? And sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this, right? We do have a mapped asset list for the entire national, all of our partners, okay? And it's purposely blurred out and hard to read as possible because this is, I'm trying to make sure that everything remains private, but we can quite literally we can send you the asset list that we have, okay? So email us or your Sophos account manager and we can expand into you, XYZ partner, and find your end users and how many you have. For example, 60. This partner has 60. Wow, crazy. But I'm not going to show you any names because this is all for privacy. So please email us at sophos@bluechipit.com.au or your Bluechip account manager or Sophos quotes, whatever you're used to, and ask for a personalized asset list of the XGs or XGSs. All right, to make it super easy, we'll literally send it to you and we'll work with you in order to get pricing and all those types of things for you to replace that XG and XGS. So cool, like I said again, sales, devices, and licenses. Okay, there's a whole bunch of other tools here, such as the firewall sizing tool, which we'll walk through really quickly after. But I've got to rush through. Okay, I've got to keep going. So if there's any questions about that, feel free to ask in the questions panel. But that was the how-to actually, so I've already covered that. Fantastic. What I will show you actually is the firewall sizing calculator. Okay, another extremely handy tool, right? You'll go under sales and the firewall sizing tool. So if anyone's asking inside of a realistic scenario, hey, I've got an XG 105, right, or a 106, whatever it might be that is coming up for renewal, and they've grown exponentially. In fact, they're bottlenecking, right? The scenario is crazy. I need, the firewall sizing tool or the calculator, or at least someone to help me, right, figure out what to quote next, or rather what is able to be sized, right? So definitely visit the firewall sizing calculator here, right? Like once I get said again, it was under sales, firewall sizing tool. You can find it under tech as well, firewall sizing tool here. And there's a whole bunch of pre-sales help desks that can also help you out with a bunch of other things, which Chris will walk through later. Okay, but in terms of the firewall sizing calculator, I'll run a really quick demo. This is a lightning flash one, but you can play around with it as much as you want because it's super easy. That's a good point, Chris. That's a good point. Good point. I'll continue with this demo right now before I approach that question. But inside of the firewall sizing calculator, okay, you'll be able to, of course, select between both virtual, right, firewalls and physical firewalls. Okay, mainly we're going to go in via XGS Series Appliance because that's most of that's coming out now. You can enter in the total bandwidth, average WAN consumption, all right, anticipated growth as well, and any of the features you want to protect, right? That's including any of the VPN settings and functionalities you want, access points, right, and also authentication, right? As a really, really super quick lightning flash demo, I'm just going to type in, 1,000 total megabytes bandwidth, and users approximately 25. I've got 25 users on site, right? This is lightning flash fast, but you can utilize that however you want, and it'll spit out an optimal, right, an optimal model. Hey, we recommend the XGS 136, for example. Or a recommended, the 126 will cover it, or the minimum that you're going to need is 116. Okay, so once again, partner portal, sales under firewall sizing tool. Okay, it'll also show you a video in the case that you forget how to use it, right? Or under tech, under firewall sizing tool. Okay.
I'll make a recommendation there too, David. The firewall sizing tools are a great tool. It's a great reference tool. For new, it's a good starting point to understand roughly where that model is. But as you can probably see, there's a lot of other factors. And when we're scoping, we do offer a scoping service, and that's one of the primary functions that the sales engineering team do. We also take into consideration other factors. So it could be port densities, it could be additional modules that you need to be added in, whether they want Wi-Fi capabilities or not. So the tool itself is a good grounding tool that you can jump in, have a look, understand sort of the basis of that. We do factor in, and obviously, as David's mentioned, around growth as well. So really, the whole scoping exercise is centered around understanding the requirements. If we're looking to do a migration, in this case, it might be an XG to an XGS. You could run a CRT report from the firewall to get a lot of these real life figures and punch them in to see what the equivalent may be in an XGS based on what their current usage is under the XG or even SG, if that's the case. So the sizing calculator is a great tool. It's a great reference point, but it should be utilized for powers of good, along with the conversation and understanding the wider scope of the project.
No, 100%, Chris. No, thanks for the commentary. So I think you mentioned that there are, a few STs out there, of course, that we can consult, in the case that we need a better qualification, right? So definitely bring any of your questions over to us, right, into our inboxes, okay, and we can forward those easily over to the SE team and, you know, kind of get a better understanding, or at least jump on a call, right, and help the end user or the customer qualify what they possibly might need. So if you feel confused, definitely utilize the services here, because they're here for you guys to utilize. But jumping right back in, that was kind of a little bit of the demonstration of the part important, the tools that we had. So devices and licenses for your asset list, and of course a firewall sizing tool as a preliminary tool in order to, you know, see whereabouts you are. It's time to look at some promotions. Okay, there's quite a few of them, so bear with me, okay? There's quite a few of them that will help you transition, right, the customer from the old legacy devices over to the new ones, right? And most famous of them all, I think we all know, but I will cover all of them because there are quite a few ones that aren't just the 99% of firewall promo that we have, because it is famous and it is capturing a lot of market share inside of Sophos, as you can imagine, but 99% off of your XGS firewall, right, if you purchase it with a 3-year Extreme license. Okay, so basically a free firewall. That's already basically a fantastic way into replacing those firewalls, simply because you don't have to pay, the end user, the customer, yourselves, don't have to pay upfront for a new piece of hardware. Okay, so you're throwing out the old one, but you don't have to buy, you don't have to basically pay for a new one, or rather, you know, you pay chips for one, right? Installation cost, whatever you want to call it. But that is expiring on the 30th of June, right? So make sure you take advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it is for new and upgrade sales. So if you're upgrading from SG or XG, it is valid, it is relevant. And if you're simply just purchasing new in order to, replace another vendor's firewalls, or literally just implementing it into a new network, a new site, you can get 99% off a firewall. So it is valid for all new sales, okay? And there is another promotion, which I'll cover really briefly, but there's a slide on that. There, currently we have another 3 months free, okay, as a grace period to allow for install time. Okay, so what that essentially means is if you order from us right now, today, for example, the license would start from today. But let's just say that there is you're going to have a month of staging, for example, and their install date is a month away. Okay, we're giving you 3 months free. Rather, Sophos is giving you 3 months free in order to allow for that time. Okay, you can select or specify a date which you want the license to start from as well. Okay, so if you want the license to start 2 weeks from now, for example, if you tell us that date, we can set that for you. Okay, so just letting you know, guys, you can set the date, but if you order it default, you will get an extra 3 months free. Okay, so it's a total of 39 months and a free firewall, essentially a free firewall, in order to get that started. Okay, so that's a really strong promotion out there. Okay, that is joint. Rather, we're joining along another promotion in what called the double your term promotion, where your endpoints and your servers, in the case that they need to bundle that in at the same time, okay, that is that's basically 50% off. Okay, so if you buy, if you purchase a 36-month license of endpoint and server, Central Intercept X Advanced, that anti-malware, anti-ransomware license that's so popular of Sophos utilizing AI, you will only pay 18 months, for example. And 24 months, if you purchase a 24-month license, you only pay for 12 months. So you double that term, okay? So really effective in the case that you guys want to get all the plumbing, all the cybersecurity plumbing out of the way, okay, inside of those network refreshes that you have. So great opportunities to further all of your sales opportunities in that regard. There's a few more, so bear with me. We've talked about, and you will see this slide. I will send out our entire promo deck to you guys after the webinar and the thank you email. Okay, so look out for this. There's going to be a whole lot. All right, along with that 99% off firewall, which is this middle column right here, we actually do also have free web server protection. Okay, if you purchase the 3-year Extreme license, and 60% off central email. Okay, so to put it into perspective, if you've got already that firewall, that 99% off firewall deal, and you purchase it, you're like, great. If they also need central email advanced, that email protection, it is 60% off. Okay, so if they needed a great deal on central email while they're at it, all right, not just endpoint and servers, 60% off there. And definitely try out ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access, right? Because you get that for free if you purchase that 99% off, right? So with that 99% off promo that we all know and love and is stealing the market, rather taking the market by storm. Okay, there's a whole bunch of add-ins that you can utilize in order to either test out ZTNA, for example, or get central email for 60% off into their network environment. And this is the officialities, okay, behind the 3 months free, that 39-month, like I mentioned, that term. But it also works on 12-month SKUs. So you get 3 months free, you get 15 months, okay, and it also works on 60-month SKUs, which means that if you purchase a 5-year license, you get 3 months free there as well, okay? So it's just, we're tacking it on to as many things as possible in order to give you maximum time to install, okay, and to go out there and roll out hardware, okay? So that's just I had to show this because of all of the promo codes and this and that. Last one, I promise, because it's quite a few, but I hope that was helping you and understand how much further you can go in these promotions. This one specifically for MSPs, and it's a first for Sophos actually. Wherein, if you're an MSP out there and you're licensing firewalls as yourself, okay, you can actually get a 50% discount. Okay, a straight up 50% discount if you order 5 firewalls. Right, so it's not really a bulk order, but if you order 5 firewalls for yourself, and the eligible firewall units are the 87, the 107, including any of the wireless editions, any of the 116, 126, 136, 2100, and 2300s, okay, you can actually get 50% off that firewall. Previously, if you're an MSP on monthly licensing, you wanted to license everything monthly, you would have had to pay upfront for that hardware full price. Rather, partner pricing. You would have had to pay partner pricing, okay? With this, you can take advantage of this current promotion, buy a little bit in bulk, stock up, and you will get 50% off the overall hardware price. Then proceed to go on and license it monthly. If anyone doesn't know about the MSP Flex partner program, that is essentially just an on-consumption, okay? On-consumption monthly build model, okay, wherein you don't have to pay for the licensing upfront. You only pay for the hardware, in this case at 50%, and then you proceed to license monthly. Okay, so definitely take advantage of this one if you're an MSP. It is a first, okay, and they're going really hard on making sure MSPs are able to benefit, okay, from replacing XG and XGS firewalls. And finally, this is the last one, I swear, because there was a whole bunch of those, but that just means that Sophos is really helping you out in replacing these XGS firewalls. If you have an existing XG, this is only for upgrade. Okay, this is only for upgrade sales. If you have an existing XG series firewall, okay, for a limited time, you can receive a 99% discount off the hardware, okay, and you get 3 years for the price of 2 on that extreme protection, okay? So that equates to approximately a 33% discount on extreme protection, okay? So not only is it just pay 3 years, 99% off, it is 99% off and 33% off the licensing, okay? So it only gets better. It only gets better for you guys in order to replace that hardware. We're really going hard on that, guys, in order to help you out, in order to help you find more inside of that deal. But yeah, hope all that made sense. If you need a walkthrough, oh, that's right. Wow, I forgot there's one more, Chris. That's right. If you deal reg them, please deal reg them because you get better discounts. You'll get an additional 10% off if you deal reg, okay? That's to you guys specifically, to partners, to the reseller discount, okay? So sneak tip. Good thing there. Additional 10% off the partner discount. Cool. So in order to revisit everything once again and make sure that Chris has enough time to do his demonstration, the key steps: get your chase list with us, or visit devices and licenses. Okay, or you can just email us, right? Request a personal XG, XGS asset list, whatever, right? Use those promotions, of course, when you get a quote from us. Make sure that you call and you inform your customers, all right, or whoever it needs to be on your internal team, all right, in order to make sure that they know the implications of, things are going end of life. They need to have these dates in their calendar. It is important. It is your firewall. And of course, be ready to swap out and perform all of your final changes. Okay, so, follow it, follow the steps diligently, and you should be good to go. Okay. If you have trouble, you can utilize our partner session menu, okay, where you can book time with us in order to sit down with you and, of course, make sure that you are up to date, up to speed, because there was quite a lot there, right? There's a lot involved in terms of the pricing, in terms of the technical side of things that Chris will show you, and of course, in terms of finding what assets are up for replacement, okay? Got a quick question from Kat. Can we request a delivery and license start date for 3 to 6 months? Kat, do you mean 3 to 6 months ahead, or do you mean 3 to 6 months? Just trying to clarify quickly. Yes, a later delivery. Yes. So you can absolutely purchase it whenever you want, okay, and we can ship it. We can just store it, for example, or yeah, we can deliver that or execute anything that you want later. All right, so definitely do ask us to organize things for you on a certain timeline, and we can do that. No, awesome, no worries, Kat. Yeah, so we're pretty flexible like that, guys. If you wanted to take advantage of promos now, for example, and of course, ship them later, we can absolutely do that. Just give us a note, or rather tell us in the beginning. So yep, partner session menu, sessions, let us know what you want. And these are real-time dates that you can book with us, guys, on our Blue Chip website. There's going to be a whole bunch of sales collateral, which I will send to you guys in a big pack so that you can, make sure that you're well prepared in your conversations with customers. And there are a whole bunch of tools, which I will skip for now because Chris will cover a whole lot and we can come back to this, all right, when he's ready, just so I can give him time to give you guys the best. So look, I'm gonna pass it over to you now, Chris, right? In order to give you the stage. Yeah, technical.
All right. Thanks, David. Hopefully you can all see my screen. Yeah, so in light of a couple of things that David's mentioned around end of life, so obviously the most important is the 31st of March 2025. We do recommend getting in as early as possible, and thanks to a lot of those promotions, it is designed to make that process a lot simpler, from basic environments all the way through to complicated environments. One of the key, I guess the first tip that I can give you when it comes to migration is preparation. Everything comes down to preparation, and the great thing is that we can do a lot of the prep work ahead of time, and as David mentioned, we can configure, we can test, do all that type of stuff well and truly before the actual date of deployment, so that you can feel confident and comfortable when the deployment comes along, that it'll be successful and seamless. But as I said, there are a lot of resources that are available to you. I'll go through some of these today, and also, don't be afraid to reach out to your account team. Reach out to the SEs, whoever your aligned SE is. If you're not sure who it is, contact me or contact your account rep, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction. So yeah, there's a couple of things that dates that are also important along with the end of life. So I'm going to come back. I've kept you in suspense long enough, Chris. So that question that you had before, I'll just recap around sort of the new versions that are coming out. So currently we're on SFOS, so Sophos Firewall Operating System version 20, which is supported under XG, and we're on maintenance release 1 currently. We are planning on releasing SFOS version 21 later this year, so within Q4 2024. Now, one of the most important things about that is that version 21 is not supported on XG. Okay, so just keep that in mind, especially around the promotions. If we can plan and prepare and start that migration period, keeping in mind obviously March, we would look to probably want to do something soon as far as migrating that off, because you will have from the end of this year till March, those XGs will be running 20, which means new features, functions, those types of things won't be introduced into the XG. So again, one of the tips that I can give you when it comes to migration is that planning and just understanding. So hopefully that's put you out of your misery there, Chris, on that. The other thing that I'd like to touch on quickly too, for those of you who aren't familiar or not so familiar with XGS, there's a lot of real benefits around the XGS, not just through functionality and features, but also physically. So if you're not aware, currently on an XG platform, we have a single path, so single CPU, single memory, single hard drive. And the extreme architecture, what we call extreme fast path, is virtualized using the OS. So V20 virtualizes what we call fast path technology, and I'll cover that off in a second. With the introduction of XGS, we can support that physically. So all XGS models come with what we call fast path, physical fast path technology. And that comprises of a dedicated CPU as well as a programmable CPU that we can program functions into to add better capabilities, better functions, more functions, but also, as you'll see in a little bit, improvements in performances as well. So going back to, I guess, talking about the scoping discussion and using the scoping tool, in a lot of cases, you could potentially go from a like-for-like model. So if you've got an XG 450, you could look to go to a 4500. But keeping in mind, you'll get a lot more performance benefits because the physical XGS 4500 actually has that dual fast path technology. It also has different port densities. So with the XGS, we introduced higher port densities. So that's where it really comes back to asking those questions, understanding the requirements and future requirements, because potentially, you don't have to go a 450 to a 4500. Might be larger, might be smaller. But yeah, it's really important to utilize those tools. And as I said, you can always use the SEs to do a further scoping around that for you, to give you sanity, to give you peace of mind, those types of things. So the first thing is we've got a lot of resources. Apart from the physical resources, the SEs that are available to you, there's a lot of resources available online. So as what David's gone through today, talking about end of life, some of the common questions that come up, what happens at the end of life, which is always an important thing, and why we're really, I guess, talking about the importance of migrating and migrating before. As I said, in certain circumstances, it's good to be prepared, understand what is involved and the effort and the time, and we don't honestly want to leave it to the last minute. So I highly encourage you to go through the resources, and these are available both through the community forum as well as the partner portal. And again, if you have any questions or queries, you can always reach out to your aligned engineer. So yeah, the migration itself, David quickly touched on the migration desk. So there is a service, a free service that's available to partners to provide support for migration. Now, the migration desk can walk you through, they can review the steps that are required, they can review the deployment process. So if you are looking to plan this out, whether it's a complicated environment with many XGs and other services that hang off it like RSD Reds, or you've got access points that are currently managed through your firewall, they can help manage that. They can also walk out and step out the level of resources required and what steps are required, so you can better plan and you can be prepared. So it may be 3 or 4 weeks out, it may be a couple of months out. The other part of this too is that they're also designed to assist. Now, I always recommend, especially when we're doing migrations, it's always a good opportunity to start fresh. If they've had their XGs for a while, or even SGs, so this service is available for either SG or XG to XGS. It's a good chance to review their config, ensuring that they've got the most value out of their firewalls, they're enabling all the latest features that are should be required for best practice, and then also any configuration issues that they may have. So it's a good opportunity to really go back and review the customer's config, so you're not bringing across any sort of bad habits or features or functions or configurations that aren't required on the XG, because we do them differently, XGS. So again, highly recommend engaging with the migration desk. For those complicated or highly sophisticated environments where there's a lot of moving parts, we also offer professional services. And sometimes once the migration review desk has done their review, they may point you towards our professional services as a paid engagement, and they can help physically run the deployment. So they can assist whether you want to use them partially to help with the deployment. Maybe you've got many different firewalls, or you've got multiple customers, or you're leaving it late and got a short runway as far as time's concerned. Again, very, very skilled. These guys do migrations and deployments many times a day. So yeah, they can assist partners with doing the migration as well. So do we have any questions before I sort of switch across to talking about the actual deployments?
Yeah, there's just one really quick one from Chris, good old Chris. Is the professional services resold via Blue Chip, or is that direct to Sophos? So I can answer that, Chris. So that's really simply we everything is quoted for us, Chris. You know, it is channel first, and we quote it down directly to you guys. It's not direct to Sophos, even though of course it is the Sophos guys, the professional services team, who will be doing those services. Okay, so of course, having that channel model, right? You guys can of course provide that services down to the end user. It'll be the Sophos guys doing the service, but you know, with you guys as the header. Yeah. So I hope that answers that, Chris. Thanks for that. Yep.
Not a problem. All right, now the techie stuff. So there's a number of different ways that you can migrate. I've mentioned around it's a good opportunity to do a review of the customer's environment. It also helps with scoping, so understanding what the current baseline is. And there's a few different tools that are available. I've mentioned one, the firewall reporting, what we call the CRT report that you can produce from the firewall. And it provides, you know, config details and so forth. But it's a good opportunity to go through and potentially start from scratch and understand so you're not bringing any sort of bad habits across. And as I said, there may be certain circumstances where there's new functionality that customers want to take advantage of. So understanding that position puts you in a good stead to go through a seamless and quite simple deployment and painless. Apart from deploying new firewalls, which I'll go through a couple of steps in just a moment, we've also introduced, if you're not familiar with our zero-touch deployment. So being able to basically send a firewall out to site, have it plugged into the WAN, and it can automatically pull the config down from central. So our zero-touch. And there's different varied options with that as well. You can have low touch as well as no touch. So again, highly recommend, if you're not familiar with this, we do offer the training as well. So there is certified training available to partners in the partner portal. Highly recommend getting across that, especially with understanding the new features as far as zero touch deployments are concerned, our new backups, those types of things. So again, there's a lot of resources available to you. To be honest, if you haven't seen this, it's the simplest way possible. So I'm managing the firewalls, group firewalls through Central. So for those of you who aren't familiar, Sophos Central Firewall Management allows you to backup, configure multiple devices across different environments or different locations. It also allows us to do things like that zero touch, being able to pull down the config straight from Central. Obviously, one of the big steps that we always talk about in any migration is ensuring that your backups are in place, so that you've got regular backups. If in the case or the event that you need to, you can always recover those backups. I've had a couple of cases where backup files weren't checked, and over the course of a few months, they were backing up corrupted configs. So luckily for them, we're able to go back and restore at least 3 months. But it is really important that you take backups and that you do check them, that you do vet and check those backup config files, because they're the, I don't want to say it, but the last line of defense. If something happens, or if you're deploying a firewall, you can always recover that from the backup file or restore back to a new machine. So that's probably one of the tip two that I would give you, is ensure that your backups are in place and that they're checked. To do the firewall itself and the migration, as I said, there's a few different processes. You can either go through and add the firewall from new. So once you receive an XGS, you can plug that in, set it up, have it ready to go, and then restore the config back. And I'll show you in a sec how you can restore the config back. And as I said, that's probably one of the easiest ways to go, because you're starting from fresh. You've got your config across. Now, depending obviously what models you're coming across. So again, you may or may not be familiar. The backups, when we restore them, we generally prefer them to be same hardware, same revision, same OS, so SFOS. So that's tip number 3. If you are migrating, make sure that your XG is on the latest version of supported SFOS, so that when you are going through and doing things like deployments, new deployments or refreshes or updates, that you can restore that config back. So again, that also helps with registering them with zero touch as well. The other part of this is if you do want to go out and configure the firewall directly, which you can do so. So you can spin the firewall up, you can copy the file or configure the firewall itself ready to go, and then it's just a matter of registering that into Central. So as I said, there's many different options available to you depending on your circumstances, depending on the environment, and there's many tools that are available to you to be able to go through and do migrations. But again, we're really leading to try and simplify this from XG to XGS, especially around the dependencies. So SG to XG was such a big difference. As you said, there were Astaro boxes. XG was the first line of hardware that we designed ourselves. So the migration between SG to XGS is a little bit harder, which is what I mentioned before. But the migration from XG to XGS has been super simple, super simple. And we're going to be releasing more and more functionalities around user experience for things like deployments and migration. So things like being able to configure port mappings prior to deploying those types of things. And you'll see that as part of the roadmap that's actually coming up quite soon. So again, I would highly recommend touching base with your account team, with your SE to find out what's on the roadmap. As David mentioned, there's a lot. There's quite a lot that's on the roadmap. So yeah, if you're curious to find out exactly what's there, if you have a question or query around something specific, certainly reach out, let us know, and we'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you or forward you through or point you in the right direction. So I'm going to talk about restore. So for those of you, again, that may not be familiar with the way that SFOS 20 works, there is a lot more capability around things like deployment and supporting additional configurations, so like HA deployments, those types of scenarios. So again, comes back to factoring, being prepared, making sure that you've got a checklist potentially going through, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, testing where possible. As I said, not just data recovery or data response, but also ensuring that the integrity. We do have quite a lot of customers that go through and will regularly either restore just as a cleanup exercise to ensure that things are running smoothly, or in the case of event, worst case scenario, touch wood, no one ever achieves that. If there is an incident, obviously being able to restore back. So to restore firmware, super simple. So this also marries whether it's a deployed firewall brand new or whether it's pulling the firewall down under the zero touch. You'll see down the bottom here. So we've installed the new firewall, we've connected it in, we've registered into Central. We can simply select the firewall and upload and restore that file. So that's simple. As I said, I'm not expecting you to remember all these different options, but there are a lot of tools, and that's where the migration desk is really handy. As I said, it's a free service. They can walk you through what option is best for you, and obviously outline any of the considerations that you need to take into account, as well as the effort and the resources that may be required to do the migration itself. And then again, potentially if need be, if you need further assistance, recommend Sophos Professional Services. And that's it. Thanks, David.
No, thanks, Chris. I might just ask you a quick question about the migration desk. If I was to, real life scenario, like I know that when contacting the migration desk, right, we need to include a few things such as customer contact information and the firewall model and revisions, and supplying the migration desk with as much information as possible to get them to help you out. But what is the what file is it? The backup file that you send over to them and ask them to help you out on, or is it a particular file?
Yeah, so there's a few different things. If you're using the migration desk, they'll require a bit of information. So obviously deadline, how soon you would like to cut it over. Also the model, the firewall model and firmware versions that you've got. An IP schema document, those types of things. What I recommend is running a what we call CRT report. So CRT reports used primarily for two things. One is for troubleshooting. So if you've ever raised a support case, they may ask you for a CRT report with logs. If you've done a health check, a security health check with a Sophos engineer, we also run them for the statistics and reports on your firewall. So it tells you throughput, users, components that are being used, if there's any issues, those types of things. So they can be generated from the firewall itself.
Nice, fantastic. Okay, well, definitely take advantage of that, guys. You know, it's there to help you, right, and make things a lot simpler. And I'm not gonna lie, Chris, it's my first time seeing you demo all that, and I thought it was gonna be a bunch more clicks and coding and this and that. I'm a sales guy, and it was way easier than I expected. So you just upload the backup file and you have to go. And I was like, wait, what? I allocated you like half an hour to show us this kind of stuff. No, that's funny, man. So thank you for that. Look, guys, it's up on the screen, and when in the thank you email, I will give you, all right, one big list of all the tools and libraries and resources that you can find, okay, in order to help you with this migration and the tools that we've discussed today. So look out for that. It'll all be there. Or if you want to screenshot it now, it's up to you. It's but make sure that you take advantage of those. Did you know though that there is also a pre-sales wireless desk? So in the case that you were doing more plumbing, wireless access points in that opportunity during that network refresh, okay, you can also get them to give you heat maps, right, recommendations, and so on and so forth. Okay, they're really good when and it comes down to giving clients proposals and solutions about what you could possibly do to help them further their network and upgrade, because all those conversations are relevant. Okay, but that was it. That was the technical demo. So thank you, Chris. I do have one thing to let you guys know about. If you're a new Sophos partner, okay, or if you have any sales teams that need training or refreshing and stuff, we have another webinar on June the 6th. Okay, it's everything you need to know as a new Sophos partner. More of the product stack, product stack 101, teaching you guys about everything that's available, not just firewalls, of course, and best ways to accelerate yourself through the partner program and hit silver, get more discounts, get more business going, etc., etc. So it's welcome to absolutely everyone, and it's courtesy of our supercharge program. But look, I think it's time to choose the winner of the Sophos swag bag for the most engaged partner today. All right, I have someone at the top of my brain who's been asking very challenging questions constantly as well. But Chris Goldsmith, right? Do you have an opinion? And I can say yes or no as well in order to.
I do, and look, this isn't because I like the name, and I'm not playing favourites here, but I think we might have the same person in mind.
No, fantastic, and it's a bit of a blunder with the names right there. But I'm going to pick Chris Fraser from our attendees today in order to win that swag bag, that kit. So congratulations, Chris. Right, congratulations from us in order to being the most engaged partner there. We wish you success inside of your business with Sophos. Okay, I'll send you that personally, the little swag bag kit with the laptop risers and our goodie bags and stuff. So congratulations there. But everyone, I hope you had a fantastic time. Okay, join our Sophos Supercharge program, which I will bring up very quickly as just the final plug inside of all of this. All right, it is a program where you can win these types of rewards by progressing through and doing your business with us. You do get step-by-step guides from us, okay, tailored assistance from myself, other product managers and SEs, okay? So you do get that technical and that sales assistance to help you guys grow your business. We do send you a lot of articles, including product strategy, go-to-market tips, and you win rewards, such as that swag bag I mentioned, okay? Jabra headsets, right? Around $300, $250, 300 headsets, and of course, standing desks and the like once you progress through those levels. And it's all about achieving revenue that will get you to silver anyway, right? For example, doing 45-minute discovery sessions of us and helping us create micro business plans for you, doing your certifications that'll get you to silver, just like you would normally have to do, right? Getting onto MSP Flex program, the monthly licensing program, and all those things that will benefit your go-to-market out to your customers as well, okay? That's to win the level 1 swag bag that we're giving out today. Level 2 is, hit a certain amount of revenue that'll get you to silver, get you more discounts, more certifications and taking advantage of our eval unit selection, where you can test out and do proof of concepts for your own end customers using our units. Okay, so helping them test drive those solutions real time and helping those opportunities progress. Okay, and then in order to achieve that level 3 bonus, that beautiful standing desk or that big old gift card, it's doing even more transactions, of course, growing your business on either flex or on the termed annual revenue. And of course, I think my favorite part is us helping you get marketing up and running. Okay, so creating a marketing funnel for yourself, helping you create digital promotions, right? Helping you go on LinkedIn, establish that type of cybersecurity expertise as a cybersecurity provider, and of course, doing a little website. So we will help you with that, right? If you get to level 3, good things to work on, right? And of course, more Sophos products, more product families, and helping you expand. So yeah, well, I hope that was helpful for everyone. Lovely to see every single one of you here. We've gone a tiny bit over time, so I do apologize, but I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you, Chris, for joining me, Chris Goldsmith, and thank you to our partner community. All right, good luck.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, David.